Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Think Future. I'm Calabucas, and once again we're coming at you live from deep in the heart of Silicon Valley, California. We're talking innovation, startups, the future. Not necessarily those, and not necessarily that order. So one of the people, I remember somebody asked me once, who are your idols? Who do you like out there? And at first I couldn't think of anybody because I didn't really have anybody who I wanted to pattern my life with, or I looked at and I thought, oh, that's an awesome person. I should be more like them. And then I thought about it a little while, and I thought to myself, well, maybe there are a few people who are out there who I like some of the tenets of their philosophy. I like some of the tenets of their lifestyle, how they live their lives, how they make their decisions. And one of those individuals is Elon Musk. And a lot of people out there will probably say the same thing. They say, well, yeah, Musk is great. He's awesome. And he may say some things I'm not really like, but I like the fact that he's his own man. He makes his own decisions, and he's driving the future, right? Some people would say Bezos. And another guy I'm a big fan of is Peter Thiel. Now, Peter Thiel was one of those other guys who came out of PayPal, just like Elon Musk did. And he made his first big wad of money through that. And then he took that and he turned it into other things. And he's the guy behind... what's the name of that company? I forget the name of that company, but they work for the federal government, and they suck in information, and they come up with patterns for terrorists and stuff like that. I'm sure it'll come to me. But he's also a big libertarian, and he also got out for Trump in 2016 or something like that, or I forget exactly when it happened. But he's his own man. So I kind of like the fact that he's going off in his own direction, and he's a libertarian and all that good stuff. But one of the things he said, which I disagree with, was that you should build a business where there are no competitors. Now, I totally understand the concept behind that. The concept behind that is great, is that, of course, if you have no competitors, then it's going to be really easy to take over a space. And I think that's what he's done with the name of his company. Now, I think it starts with a P. I'm sure it'll come to me as we discuss this. So it's great to sort of take over a space and say you're the leader in that space, and that's fine. But the problem is that it's very, very difficult. That is the most difficult way to build a business. So unless it is a very, very obvious niche that nobody has built anything in yet, and it's entirely possible that there are things like that out there. For example, I was looking for a specific facility for one of my concept house ideas. I was looking for a specific facility that connected WordPress with drip emails, and I couldn't find it. There was this big hole in this particular request that I was asking for, and I went all over the internet and looked on Stack Exchange and all over the place to see if I could find this specific facility, and it seems to me that this facility does not exist. It's a big hole that's missing, that nobody's got anything there. So there may be another startup in my mind which fills that hole. But I digress. So the point I'm trying to make is that it's very, very difficult to find that empty space, that white space that there is a demand for, but nobody has built anything for yet. That's very difficult. And that's what his company does. And it's great to have companies and ideas that are in those kind of spaces. But here's one problem with them. A, you have to really educate. Unless it's like a space that is crying out for assistance, just crying out for assistance. And maybe there are a few players in the space, and they're not quite doing the whole thing, but they're doing part of it. But it's got to be crying out. And then you can tell that it's going to be successful, because the moment you put something up, bam, it succeeds. It succeeds. But 99% of the time, you're not going to have that immediate kind of success in that space, because you've got to educate people on what exactly you're trying to do. And this is one of the things that's great for patentable ideas, but it's terrible for business ideas, because sometimes it's just too innovative. It's just too innovative. You put it out there and people are like scratching their heads like, what is this? Right? You got to educate me on what this thing is. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of the leaders today aren't the first movers in the space. You think Google was the first search engine? No. You think Facebook was the first social media company? No. There were lots of other companies before this. Lots and lots and lots and lots of them. But they all failed. These are like 5th or 10th movers in the space, and they just happen to gain traction. So yes, I agree that going into a space where there's no competitors is great. And if you can find a space where there's no competitors, is great. And you can find a space where it doesn't require a lot of education to get the customers to understand what you're trying to do. That's great too. But those are very difficult hauls. Very, very difficult. And if you ask me, I'm a big fan of, why is this so hard? Why is this so hard? So think about your end goal. If you really want to dent the universe, if you really want to build an amazing business that affects the lives of millions and millions of people, then yes, do that thing. Go for that thing that's way out there that eventually people will pick up, and it'll be a huge, huge thing, like Uber. But if you just want to build a business that's money-making, profitable on day one, you have to look for a demand, and you have to look for places where there's already competitors, where people already understand what you're doing, because all you're going to be doing is doing that better in a different way. That's the quickest way to profitability. And I've said this before, if you want to dent the universe, go the other route. If you just want to make money, then there's plenty of ways to build profitable businesses. All you have to do is copy something that's already out there and do it better or in a new way that will make it more profitable. There's lots of ways of doing it. But I gotta say, being an entrepreneur is not the best way to become rich. If you just want to become rich, get in the business of money. So it might sound harsh, but the reality is that entrepreneurship is one thing, getting rich is something else.